What's going on, everybody? Josh here with Scrapyard Films, and today I got another video for you. In this one, I'm gonna be reviewing this thing right here, which is the Pixel G1s RGB video light. I've had this thing for about 2 months now, and I could comfortably say that this light is awesome. I think it's an absolute necessity for photo and video lighting. There's so many uses for a light like this. For example, you can use it as a fill light, as a hair light, as an accent light, and it's even bright enough to be used as a key light. If you've watched any of my streams in the past couple months, you will see this light shining on my face as a fill light. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So let's talk about some details about this light. The light comes in a real sturdy box, and it comes with its own nice little soft carrying case. It has a little tie strap so it won't go anywhere if you tie that down. It's really thin and low profile, and also comes with a little attachment that screws on to a 1/4 inch mount, and that lets you attach this to a hot shoe on top of your camera or any kind of gear that you have that you can attach a hot shoe to. And it also comes with a nice little metal stand. It's about 6 inches tall, and the legs are bendable and foldable, so they'll stay in place whichever way you put them. On the bottom of this device, it has 3 screw holes in it. They are 1/4 inch screw slots, so you can attach multiple devices to it, or it to multiple things that have 1/4 inch screws. And above the center screw hole, it actually has a receiving hot shoe mount. Here's an example of the RGB light attached to a camera. You could see above where it attached to the top of the camera, there's a receiving hot shoe mount, which I attached to my microphone. Also on the bottom of this light, there is a charging port where it charges via USB-C, so a very universal cord, which is extremely useful. The case of this light is made up mostly of aluminum. I'd say about 95% of it. The only parts that aren't aluminum are where the buttons and wheels are. Those aren't plastic. And on the top, you'll see it's very sturdy on and off button. The bottom section where the screw holes are is rotatable by 360 degrees, so you can point it in any direction. On the back, you'll see a nice little hue chart, which will tell you the degrees of where the colors are, because this light does produce any color on the 360 degree color spectrum. Also on the back is a 1-inch LCD screen, where this will display the information like battery, brightness, and modes. On the front of this light, you'll see a plastic cover, and behind that plastic cover, you will see 150 individual LEDs on it. 40 of them are white lights, 40 of them are warm lights, and 70 of them are RGB lights. You can adjust the brightness of the light from a scale of 0 to 100. And at its full brightness, it can shine as bright as 1500 lux or lumens at about 1.5 feet. Now the battery inside this light is a 3200 milliamp battery. That's bigger than the iPhone 11 Pro. When using this light at 100% brightness and 100% charge, this light can last up to 2.5 to 3 hours. But that all depends on how bright you have it. If you have it set to 50% brightness, this light can last 5 hours or more. It all depends on how you use it. Again, this light can be charged via USB-C and on a typical power block of 2.4 amps. If this light's at 0%, it will take about 2 to 2.5 hours to charge it back to 100%. But if you have a 3 amp block or higher, then that number can be cut down pretty significantly. So let's talk about the type of light this thing shines. In one of the light modes, it does specific color temperatures, which goes all the way from 2500 Kelvin to 8500. You can use the top wheel to raise and lower the brightness, and you can use the bottom wheel to change the temperature. If you press the middle set button, it goes to the second mode, which is the hue and saturation mode. Now the hue can go all the way from 0 to 359, and that's going to hit an individual color 360 different colors on the hue spectrum. If you press the center button on the bottom scroll wheel, that'll flip you over to the saturation. And the saturation level goes from 0 to 100, so if you go all the way down to 0, it'll take out all the color, and if you go all the way up to 100, it'll bring you full color. And again, with the top wheel here, you can adjust the brightness. If you press the middle set button again, it'll bring you to the third mode, which are its programmed functions. It has 9 program buttons built into it for your creative mind. Starting from the top, this mode looks like it simulates lightning strikes at a pretty slow pace. If you flip to mode B, this looks like it's more of a flickering light, which you could simulate kind of a scary scene of maybe a light not working correctly. And then mode C on this one kind of dims the light, but it never goes all the way to 0 and it never goes all the way to 100. This can simulate if you want to look like you're watching TV or something like that. If we go down to the second batch of functions, mode A, it's going to rotate through the entire hue spectrum, go from 0 to 359 at a pretty slow pace. If we switch it to mode B, it's going to do the same thing but at a much faster pace. And if we go to mode C, it's going to keep it on more of an orangish red and flickering, kind of almost like a fireplace. If we go down to the third batch of functions, the first one on A is going to be simulating cop lights. It's going to flicker between blue and red at a pretty quick pace. If we flip it to mode B, it's going to flicker between blue and white at a little bit of a slower pace. And if we flip it to mode C, it's gonna flicker between red and white at an even slower pace. So this can kind of help you simulate maybe an emergency scenario. And again, in this mode, the top wheel can adjust the brightness from 0 to 100. So how much does one of these RGB lights cost you? If you go to Amazon and search RGB video light, you're gonna see a wide variety of options. You're gonna see some pretty cheap ones with really basic functionality, but if you go ahead and try to search all the functions that this one has, you're gonna see them start going up to the $100 to $129 price range. Well, luckily, this one goes for $79.99. It is the cheapest budget-friendly RGB light out there with this much functionality. If you don't have one of these in your arsenal already, you need to jump on that before they raise that price. It's an extremely convenient light, which I use every single time I make a video. The only reason I'm not using it now is because I only got one. So I personally rate this thing a 5 out of 5 because it is awesome, and I don't know what I've been doing without it this whole time. As soon as I got it in my arsenal, it was a big game changer. So I put the link in the description below for you to check that out. That link is an affiliate link, so if you do purchase this light through it, that'll really help me out and support the channel at no extra cost to you. So thank you guys for watching this review. If it helped you out at all, be sure to like and subscribe down there because that'll really help me out. And I'll see y'all in the next video. And I want to give a shout out to all my supporters, especially my super scrappers, LMC, HPL Gamers, and Old Man Beta.